My dear beloved, come in close now. I don't speak lightly, and I surely don't speak without purpose. We are gathered here in spirit, in hope, and in sacred tradition, to speak of something old as the mountains and pure as the tears of a mother. I speak today of salt, not just the kind that seasons your food, but the salt that seasons your soul, the salt that purifies, the salt that protects, the salt that prospers.
Yes, child salt.
You see, our ancestors knew something the world has forgotten. They didn't have the riches of the earth, but they had the wisdom of heaven. And they knew that salt, simple, unassuming salt, had power beyond the kitchen. They would take it in their weathered hands, whisper prayers over it, and place it with care throughout the home, not to cook but to cleanse, not to flavor but to flourish. Now listen closely. On July 12, a sacred window opens, a day kissed by divine timing, a day when heaven bends low to meet us where we stand. On this day, I invite you to take salt with reverence, with prayer, and place it in 5 holy places in your home. Not as superstition, but as spiritual alignment, as faith in action, as a bold declaration that prosperity has found your address. Let us walk through these 5 sacred places together. Yes, baby. Come closer now. Let me speak to you in a way your soul can understand. There's something holy about the front door, something mighty sacred. The front door of a home is more than wood, hinges, or paint. It is the mouth of the house, the threshold between what is outside and what is within. And oh, how the soul of a home listens for what crosses that sacred line. The energy, the intentions, the spirits. They all come knocking, some gently and some like a storm. But hear me when I tell you, not everything that knocks deserves to be let in. You see, child, in the days of old, when grandmothers prayed with their hands wrinkled from both soap and sorrow, they would sweep that doorstep not just for dust, but for demons. They'd wash it down with water mixed with tears and whisper scriptures in the silence of dawn. They knew, somehow, that the front door was where battles began and blessings were either welcomed or blocked. That's why, on July 12, when the heavens draw near and the spirit realm stretches out its arms, you must go to your door, not in fear but in faith, and place that salt. Place it like a warrior preparing for peace. Place it like a mother marking the entrance for angels. Place it like someone who knows the presence of God can guard a home just as surely as locks and alarms. It doesn't take much sugar, just a pinch. A few white grains in the corners of your door. Maybe a small dish, plain and humble, resting near the mat. Don't concern yourself with the appearance. Worry instead about the intention. The salt must be placed with prayer, with conviction, and with the spiritual authority of someone who knows they are a child of God. You stand at your door, and you say, "Let no evil pass through this way. Let no harm enter under my roof. May every person who steps through here be met with light, with love, or be turned away by the Spirit of the Lord himself." You don't whisper it, child. You declare it. You own it. Because you are not some reed in the wind, swaying helplessly. You are a mighty tree. Rooted, grounded in your front door. That's your first line of spiritual defense. See, people think protection is always about locking something up. But the greatest protection is the presence of the Holy Spirit, the angels on assignment, the peace that builds a hedge around your dwelling. That salt, when prayed over, when positioned with faith, becomes a barrier, a boundary, and a blessing. Now let me tell you what else that salt does. It filters energy. Oh yes, it separates the wheat from the chaff. When someone with jealousy in their heart steps to your door, that salt will begin to steer. When bitterness comes cloaked in a smile, the salt will absorb that poison before it ever enters. You may not see it with your eyes, but the Spirit knows. You'll feel it. Something won't feel right, and that is discernment working with your obedience. And don't you doubt it, child, not for one holy minute, The enemy watches your house too, just like the angels do. Evil doesn't always come with horns and fire. Sometimes it comes with flattery. Sometimes it's disguised as opportunity. But when salt guards your door and prayer guards your mouth, even Satan himself must walk the long way around your dwelling. He'll find no entrance here, no open crack, no welcome mat laid out for weakness. You put that salt there like a prophet in your own home. You speak life over your threshold. You say, this door only opens to joy, to favor, to divine connections, not sorrow, not strife, not stagnation. You speak as though the earth beneath your feet will shift to match your words. Because it will, beloved. And let me take it a step further as you place that salt. Remember what the door represents in your own life. Doors are decisions. Doors are directions. Doors are destiny. So as you sanctify your front entrance, you are also sanctifying the path you walk on, the choices you make, the opportunities you open yourself to. You are saying to God, let every door I walk through this year be in your will. Let no man-made trap, no illusion of success, no counterfeit blessing trick me into stepping outside of your favor. There is power in claiming your space, in anointing it with simplicity and sanctity. Salt is humble, child, but it is mighty, it is pure, it is faithful, and it will stand at that door when you are asleep. When you are tired, when you forget to pray, it will still be there like a spiritual soldier saying, this house is covered. You are not being superstitious. You are being spiritually responsible. You are not bowing to tradition. You are rising in revelation. And when July 12 dawns and the sun warms the world in golden promise, you will know that heaven has leaned down to kiss your home. Not because you shouted the loudest, not because you danced the wildest, but because you acted in quiet obedience. Because you placed salt at the point of entry and called on God like you believe He answers. And oh, how He answers. So go now, my dear one. Get your salt. Get your heart ready. And stand like the guardian of your home that you are. Because what enters your house must first pass through your faith. And that changes everything. Ah, yes, beloved. Walk with me now into the room where fire meets flesh, where hunger meets provision, and where the sacred touches the simple. Step with reverence into that warm chamber we call the kitchen. Not just a space of stoves and silverware, but a divine altar where spirit and soul are nourished daily. The kitchen is the heart of a home. It beats slow and strong, like a mother's lullaby in the midnight hour. It is where recipes are passed down like heirlooms, and prayers rise with the scent of simmering stew. This is the room where children learn what love tastes like, where elders stir hope into every pot, and where even silence is fed. And in that sacred place, you must place your salt. Now, don't you make the mistake of thinking this salt is for seasoning your food. No, no. This salt is for seasoning your life. It is for blessing the hands that prepare the meals, for sanctifying the provisions that come into your pantry, and for breaking the back of lack that tries to haunt your table like a ghost. You see, baby, prosperity begins in the kitchen, not at the bank, not in the stock market, but right there, where you decide every day that what God has given you is enough to nourish your body and strengthen your spirit. That's where abundance lives. Not in the quantity, but in the gratitude. And so, you take that salt, white as the promises of heaven, and you place it near your stove, or tucked on a shelf, or folded quietly into a small container beside your flour or rice. You don't need to make a spectacle of it. This isn't for display, it's for destiny. As you do it, you whisper or shout, however your spirit moves. Something like this. Let this kitchen be a haven of blessing. Let no hunger live here. Let no meal be cooked in bitterness. Let every pot bubble with peace, every spoon stir up joy. Let there always be enough. And you say it like you mean it. Say it like your grandmother would, with soul in your voice and heaven in your eyes, Because salt in the kitchen is more than tradition. It is protection. It is prophecy. It says, I believe my home will never know lack. It says, even if I've only got a little meal and a drop of oil, my God can multiply it. Didn't the widow feed the prophet Elijah from the last of her supplies? And didn't the oil never run out? That, baby, is the power of faith-fed salt. Salt absorbs the spirit of a place. It holds the energy of the environment. If you've ever cooked a meal while angry, you know the food tastes different. That's no accident. The spirit you stir with is the spirit you serve. That's why you place salt in your kitchen, to capture that tension, to draw it out, and to replace it with calm. Oh, and let me tell you, sugar. When the enemy wants to attack your joy, he'll come through the kitchen. He'll creep in through an empty fridge. He'll try to cause confusion during dinner. He'll whisper lies while you wash dishes, telling you're not doing enough. But salt says otherwise. Salt says, this space is claimed. This is holy ground. No fear can fry in this pan. No shame can simmer in this pot. Yes, even your kitchen can preach a sermon. When you place salt here, you're also declaring worth. You are saying, my labor in this room is not in vain. Every meal made in love is a ministry. Every dish cleaned with care is a declaration. I make room for the next blessing. Every floor swept is a sweeping away of yesterday's worries. Don't let the world fool you into thinking this is women's work or just cooking. Oh no, baby, this is sacred work. This is where provision turns into praise. This is where the ordinary becomes extraordinary with the touch of faith. And hear me. Prosperity doesn't always show up in cash. Sometimes it shows up in cabinets that never go bare, in a child's belly that never knows hunger, in a neighbor who brings over a bag of groceries without knowing you needed them. That's prosperity too. That's God saying, I see you, I will feed you, I will fill you. So, stand tall in that kitchen, even if your apron is stained, even if your stove is old, even if the lights flicker when too many things are plugged in. Still, your kitchen is your altar, and that's salt, placed on July 12th with your heart open and your spirit lifted, will become the quiet guardian of your abundance. And while the world chases fame and fortune, you, beloved, will understand that true wealth lies in peace and provision, in the laughter around the table, in the steam rising from soup on a cold night, in the soft side of satisfaction when everyone has had their fill. So let the salt sit. Let it soak up anything that doesn't belong. Let it call down blessings. Let it remind you, every time you reach for a pan or stir a pot, that you are the keeper of miracles in your own home. Because the kitchen is not just a place where food is made. It is where the spirit of prosperity is birthed. And the salt is your witness, your silent prayer, your spoken promise. Your act of faith, place it, child, and let the heavens respond. Come now, darling. Let us move softly into the room where the world is finally quiet, where the body finds rest and the mind lays down its weary thoughts. Let us step with reverence into the place where you lay your head at night and whisper your deepest truths into the darkness. The bedroom, child. Oh yes, that tender, still place, that sacred sanctuary. That temple where peace should dwell. It's a room where dreams are born and where healing takes place in the quiet of the night. But too often, it's where restless spirits walk the floors, where unspoken worries coil themselves around your chest, where old traumas crawl into bed beside you like unwelcome guests. And so I say to you today, take your salt, sacred, spirit-led salt, and place it near your bed, beneath the mattress, tucked in a cloth, hidden like a secret prayer at the foot of your resting place. Let it speak in silence on your behalf. You see, the night is not just a time for sleep. It is a realm, a holy battlefield of sorts. While the body lies still, the spirit travels, the soul listens, and the enemy, oh yes, the enemy watches. But he cannot enter a sanctuary that has been claimed. Not when the salt has been placed with prayer, not when the room has been filled with the aroma of faith. So go ahead, my dear. Stand at the edge of your bed like a queen in her domain, like a prophet preparing the altar. Take that salt, and before you place it, speak to it, not as if you are casting a spell. No, that is not our way. We speak to it because words have power, because life and death are in the tongue, and we were taught never to let a day end without speaking life over what belongs to us. Say, this room is mine. It is a sanctuary, not a storm. It is for peace, not panic. It is for rest, not regret. No spirit of heaviness shall sleep beside me. No voice of condemnation shall whisper in my dreams. I am held. I am healed. I am whole. You don't need fancy words, baby. You just need a heart that believes. Because when salt is placed by faith, it becomes a warrior in white. It becomes a spiritual filter, absorbing the unrest that tries to sneak in while you sleep. It stands at the edge of your dreams like a guardian with a sword. You know how it is. Some nights sleep won't come. Or if it does, it's troubled, tossing and turning. Your mind still racing from yesterday's pain and tomorrow's questions. And sometimes, if we're honest, it's not just thoughts that keep us up. It's energy. It's residue from arguments, from broken promises, from the pain that clings to the fabric of our pillows. That's why the salt must be placed, so it can draw that chaos out, so it can hold the stillness you're so desperately craving, so it can give you back the rest that the world has tried to steal from you. And let me tell you something. Sugar, you deserve to rest. You deserve to close your eyes without fear. You deserve to dream without dread. And don't you ever let anyone convince you that you're asking for too much. No, no. You're asking for what heaven already wants to, giving peace that passes all understanding. Place that salt beneath your bed like your ancestors did. Those wise old souls who didn't have degrees but had discernment. Who didn't have therapists but had truth. They understood the bedroom needed covering. They knew spirits wander at night, and so they marked the bedpost with prayer. They hummed hymns into the walls. They placed salt, not out of fear, but out of sacred preparation. And when you lay down, don't forget to speak over your body, that beautiful, tired temple of yours. Speak over your feet that have carried you through the wilderness. Speak over your heart that still dares to love despite the breaks. Speak over your mind that wrestles with shadows but still chooses the light. Say, tonight, I lay down worry. I lay down control. I lay down the weight of being strong for everyone else. I receive rest not as a reward but as a right. I receive peace not as a privilege but as a promise. Salt doesn't just protect, child. It invites. It invites clarity. It invites cleansing. It invites communion with God in the stillness of the night. It becomes a quiet invitation for the angels to come near, to wrap themselves around your bed frame like golden light, and sing lullabies in a language only your soul can hear. And when you wake in the morning, when you rise, you will feel the difference. You'll feel lighter, calmer. You'll feel like something heavy has been lifted. That's not your imagination, beloved. That's the fruit of a bedroom that has been claimed in the name of peace. Don't overlook this room. Don't underestimate its sacredness. This is the chamber where your strength is renewed, where your inner child is comforted, where God whispers truths that the noise of the day drowns out. Make it holy again. Make it still. Make it worthy of the glory that your spirit carries. So take that salt, small and unassuming. Place it without fear. Place it with confidence. Because it doesn't need to shout to work. It just needs to be placed in faith. And then, baby, you lie down. Close those beautiful eyes. Let your chest rise and fall like the waves of a calm sea. Let your spirit rest in the arms of peace. Because tonight, oh yes, tonight you are guarded. Not just by locks on doors or walls of stone, but by the power of prayer, the placement of salt, and the eternal promise that God watches over those who sleep in his love. Come closer, child. Let me take your hand and walk you into a room so often forgotten in our prayers. A space passed over, though it sees more of our shedding than any other. The bathroom. Now don't you raise your brow. Don't you look surprised. Because even the humblest of places carries divine purpose. You see, God does not only dwell in cathedrals or churches. He is not confined to stained glass windows or lofty prayers. He walks with us where we release, where we rinse, where we let go of what no longer serves us. And yes, that includes the bathroom, the room of release. This room, precious one, is sacred not because it is glamorous, but because it is honest. The bathroom is the place where we come bare. Stripped down from masks, from burdens, from the performances of the day. It is here we wash away sweat and sorrow. It is here we look in the mirror and face ourselves, truly, fully. And it is here, in this tender, private space, that we must place the salt. Place it near the sink, behind the toilet, tucked discreetly on a shelf or nestled by the bathtub. It doesn't need to be seen by eyes. It only needs to be recognized by the Spirit. Because the bathroom is the place of release. And release is holy. You see, salt has a way of drawing things out. It absorbs, it cleanses, it holds. And when placed in this space, it becomes a sacred sponge for everything heavy that tries to cling to you. Emotional residue, spiritual burdens, the thick fog of depression, the silent scream of anxiety. Oh, sugar, we carry so much. And too often we carry it where nobody can see. We smile through storms. We laugh while leaking. But when we come to this quiet room, where the water runs and solitude speaks, we are free to let go. That's why the salt must be there, to catch what is released, to take it, to trap it, to bury it in grace. You come in tired. You look at yourself, eyes puffy, heart weary. And maybe, just maybe, you whisper, God, I'm letting it go today. I'm releasing the lies they told me. I'm releasing the fear that gripped me. I'm releasing the shame that has followed me like a shadow. And as the water flows, so does your surrender. Place that salt, and let it remind you that what leaves your body must not return to your soul. The guilt, the worry, the toxic thoughts. They can be flushed, drained, rinsed, and never invited back. This space, this bathroom, is your daily baptism. Every wash is a ritual. Every rinse, a reset. When you clean your face, speak over it, I am not what I went through. I am who I'm becoming. When you wash your hair, say, God, renew my mind. Restore my thoughts. When you dry your hands, whisper, what has been released will not return. Because the salt there is doing its quiet work. It's not glamorous, but neither is grace in its rawest form. Salt doesn't sparkle. It serves. It works behind the scenes, it says. Bring me your burdens. I can handle them. And oh, how we need that. In this life full of noise and demand, we need one room, one moment, where we can crumble and be rebuilt. And do not be mistaken, child. Just as much spiritual warfare happens in a prayer room, it can happen in your bathroom. The enemy loves to catch us off guard, whispering lies when we are most exposed, most undone. He'll tell you you're not enough as you glance in the mirror. He'll convince you're too broken, too fat, too old, too far gone. But the salt there, that quiet white warrior, is soaking up that poison before it ever takes root. You may not feel it, but over time the atmosphere shifts. You begin to step into that room not just to release physically, but to be healed spiritually. You begin to hear a different voice, not of condemnation, but of compassion. And that, child, is the difference. That's the work of the salt. That's the result of your obedience. And sometimes you will cry in that bathroom. Not the kind of tears that fall silently. No, the kind that shake your shoulders. The kind that wet your collar. The kind that have no words. And that salt will sit quietly receiving every ounce of grief and it will not judge. It will just absorb. Just like God, patient, still, ready. Because even when no one else sees your release, heaven does. On July 12, when you place that salt in your bathroom, you are telling the heavens, I make space for healing. I give myself permission to let go. I sanctify this place, not because it is beautiful, but because it is necessary. Oh, my dear, so much of your breakthrough depends not on what you hold, but on what you release. And there is no place more symbolic than the bathroom. So mark it with salt. Let the bowl or the pinch or the pouch be your declaration. Here I will not hold on to what hurts me. Here I will not store shame. Here I will let the pain pass. I will be cleansed. I will be made new. Every time you enter after that, let it be a return to peace. And when you leave, may you walk out a little lighter, a little free, a little more whole, because God is not only in the mighty roar. He's in the quiet drip of a faucet. He's not only in the shout of the preacher. He's in the sight of the weary soul washing her face at 2 a.m. And he is most surely in the salt you placed with trembling hands and unwavering faith. So go now, place the salt, and say goodbye to everything that no longer belongs to you. Say goodbye to guilt, goodbye to fear, goodbye to every lie. Let it swirl down the drain, let it vanish with the flush. And know this, you are not releasing into emptiness. You are releasing into the arms of a God who says, let it go, child. I'll carry it from here. Now we come to the room where life gathers itself, where the sun creeps gently across the floor in the morning, where children's laughter dances in the air, where stories are told over tea, and silence sits softly like an old friend. We are now in the living room, baby. And don't let that simple name fool you. It is the room where living happens. It's the space where we receive others and where we, ourselves, try to rest, where we sit with our thoughts and entertain both guests and grief, where joy makes its entrance and sorrow sometimes overstays its welcome. And that's why, child, the salt must be placed here too. Not out of superstition, but out of sacred protection. Not as a ritual, but as a declaration. This space is safe. This space is sound. This space is sanctified. You take that salt, pure, silent, humble, and you walk quietly to each corner of your living room. Yes, baby, all 4 corners. And don't forget the 5th place, the spiritual corner, the center of the room, where the energy of every conversation, every laugh, every tear seems to settle. That's the heart of the room. That's where you let the salt sit as your invisible sentinel. Sprinkle a little in each corner or rest it gently in small bowls, tucked discreetly behind furniture or beneath a chair. No need to show it to every eye. It doesn't serve for the sake of applause. It serves because it's been anointed. And as you place it, speak. Oh, speak, child. Don't be shy with your voice. Speak like the room is listening, because it is. Say, let every spirit that enters here be weighed by the salt. Let joy be multiplied and sorrow sifted out. Let arguments be softened and forgiveness find a home here. May this be a gathering ground for peace, for truth, for light, and let no evil take root in these walls. Now step back. Close your eyes if you must. Feel the shift in the air. Subtle, quiet, powerful. That's the salt drawing its line in the sand, saying, this far, no further. This home belongs to God. You see, child, the living room is often where the energy of the house settles. It's where people come in from the world, carrying their burdens, their gossip, their energies. And all of it lingers like perfume long after they've left. And if you don't guard that space, if you don't clear that atmosphere, you'll find your peace slowly drowning in invisible weight. Have you ever felt it? That heaviness. You walk in and suddenly feel anxious, irritated, tired. And you don't know why, but your spirit knows. Your soul is wise. It picks up what your eyes cannot see. That's when the salt begins its silent work. absorbing that which does not belong, lifting what should not linger, standing like a gatekeeper between your spirit and the spirits that wish to disturb. And baby, let me tell you, just because someone smiles doesn't mean they're bringing peace. Some folks walk in with storms swirling around them. And if you're not anchored, their winds will shake your whole foundation. That's why you salt the corners, so that even if a storm enters your home, it will have no place to stay. It will meet resistance in every corner. Your living room holds memory. You don't need me to tell you that. The ghost of laughter lives in these walls. So does the echo of hard conversations, of broken news, of silent prayers mouthed behind tight smiles. So much energy lives here. So many emotions have crossed these floors. That's why salt must be placed. To cleanse, to purify, to renew. And when you place that salt, you are telling every spirit, visible and invisible, that this space is not open to chaos. This space is set apart. This is a gathering place, yes, but it is not a dumping ground. You can bring your troubles here, but you will find healing. You can bring your burdens, but you will be invited into peace. It's not just about other people either. Sometimes you walk into that room carrying your own shadows. The salt meets you with grace. It says, lay it down here. Let me take it. Rest, beloved. You don't have to hold it all. And let me tell you something else. Salt in the living room makes your home a beacon, a spiritual lighthouse. Friends may not know why they feel calm when they sit on your couch. Guests may not understand why they leave lighter than when they arrived. But the Spirit knows. The salt knows. God knows. There is healing in this act, child. Healing for your home. Healing for your heart. And healing for the generations to come who will one day sit in this room and feel the residue of your obedience. Because when you salt the living room, when you claim this space in the name of peace, you're not just protecting furniture and walls. You're protecting memories yet to be made. You're creating an atmosphere where children can grow in confidence, where families can reconcile, where laughter doesn't have to hide behind pain, where God Himself can take a seat and feel welcomed. That's what you're doing. That's what that salt is saying. So go ahead and take your rightful place as the keeper of your atmosphere, as the one who decides what gets to stay and what must go. Light a candle, say a prayer, hum an old hymn if your spirit leads you. Make your living room a living sanctuary, a place where love is not just spoken but felt in every corner. Salt the space, pray the prayer, and then sit down, child, not just to rest your body, but to rest in the assurance that your home is now wrapped in the warmth of protection, your peace anchored by 1,000 silent grains of power. You don't need a cathedral to feel God.